pronoun she, her, and hers, or they and them. And I'm going to share some slides real quick, and we will get this party going. Let's see here. Okay. So before we begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that even though we are spread probably all over California, United States, and beyond, that I am currently located in San Francisco. I'm on the unceded territory of the Ramaytush Ohlone people, whose presence and stewardship of this land extends into the past, present, and future. As the original biologist on this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone understood the interconnectedness of all things and maintained harmony with nature for millennia. While I recognize that a land acknowledgement is not enough to repair the many injustices inflicted on the Ohlone people, it is an important social justice and decolonial practice that promotes Indigenous visibility and is a reminder that we are settled on Indigenous land. So I'd like to start off our time today by building a word cloud together. I saw messages starting to come in the chat, and everybody's super excited, as are we. And I'm going to drop a link into the chat box real quick, and then we're going to go to a word cloud, and you'll see what we're going to do here. So now I just have to find the chat. It's always in a funny place. Here we go. So here comes a link in chat, and I will switch over to that. We're going to activate this word cloud. So describe in one word how you are feeling about graduating today. And so I want you to type it into the link, and then we're going to build a word cloud. And after the ceremony, we'll share this word cloud with you so that you can have it as a little memento of graduation. So keep it coming in the poll here. We're starting to see the results coming in. Awesome. Lots of different feelings. All right, keep it coming. Okay. So I'm going to switch back to the slides now. You can keep entering this in, and we'll build it out and send it to you after the ceremony. But for now, I'm going to switch back to my slides. And before I pass the baton to Roy Rolfs, who's our first speaker of the day, I would like to give a huge shout out to the students and staff who planned this ceremony. So many thanks to Gustavo Padilla, Rhonda Phillips, Alyssa Vasquez, Brianna Franklin, Colin Leisure, and Ji Kwong. In addition to our amazing graduates who we're going to recognize soon, I also want to recognize several faculty and staff shown here who will be, just like you, have just completed their last semester at San Francisco State. So many of you may feel like it took you a lifetime to complete your studies here at San Francisco State. These 6 folks really did spend a lifetime here. Between them, they've been at San Francisco State for over 150 years. That's amazing. J.R. Blair earned his MS in the Department of Biology and returned to engage students in the wonderful world of plants. He's also the director of the Sierra Nevada Field Campus. Any of you have been there know what a special and wonderful place that is. Dennis Desjardins is also an alum of San Francisco State. So I hope you see that you can come back. Just because you're leaving now, you can still come back and be part of us. Amongst other things, Dennis was JR's thesis advisor. Dennis has traveled the world in search of new fungi and has discovered hundreds of new species, including one that was featured on a postage stamp. In addition to being a Navy veteran, Terry Light is also an alum of San Francisco State. She taught non-majors courses in both human biology and microbiology. Joe Romeo is not an alum of San Francisco State, but we're glad to have him nonetheless. He taught microbiology and virology. Eric Routman taught evolution to so many of you. Some of you were fortunate enough to spend time in the desert with him, hunting for reptiles. And lastly, Tricia DeVera, who is the director of the Steeple Resource Center, is also retiring. If you ever had name placards in your classes, index cards, and interesting activities, It was likely Tricia that made it happen. So please join me in giving them a virtual round of applause for these 6 men and women who devoted their entire careers to San Francisco State biology students. Thanks to all of you. Okay, so it is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Rory Rolfs, who will be giving the first speech today. Dr. Rolfs has been at San Francisco State since 2015 and teaches genetics and forensics genetics. She works on computational approaches to understanding genetic variation within and between species. She's also a co-lead on the effort to offer a graduate opportunities and learning data science certificate. So welcome, Rory.
Thank you for that welcoming introduction, Laura, and thank you to the students for the honor of the invitation to speak here today. I am humbled at this momentous occasion to celebrate the graduation of the SF State Biology class of 2021. I am Rory. I'm the child of a teacher and a sailor. I'm a queer femme dyke and a parent, and I'm privileged to be an assistant professor at SF State Biology. In that position, I have had the pleasure to work with some of the graduates here today. Class of 2021, I will indeed sing your praises, but first we have got to thank your supportive community. This is biology and we humans are social creatures. We can only thrive in relationship to one another. So now I want to address the folks who have been there for the class of 2021. I'm talking about the supportive chosen families and the families of origin. I'm talking about the parents, the children, the siblings, the aunties, the uncles, the ancestors. I'm talking about the classmates, the friends, the roommates, and the lovers. I'm talking about those living and passed on. Supporters of these graduates, in the last years, when you yourselves were surely overburdened, you were still there for these graduates. Without diminishing these graduates' achievements, you supporters deserve your own congratulations. You have nurtured, loved, and lifted up these graduates through compounded crises. I'll go ahead and speak for the whole SF State Biology Department in deeply thanking you. It has been a privilege to work with these graduates, and I hope that today's supporters, you can take some pride in their accomplishments. Now, San Francisco State University, Department of Biology, class of 2021. Congratulations. You have arrived here at commencement, graduating with your degree. For every graduating class, this moment indicates a depth and breadth of academic achievement. For people earning your bachelor's, you've taken classes across subjects. You've learned tons of biological systems and laboratory techniques, and you've applied the scientific method to answer questions. For people earning your master's, you've taken your classes, but more so, you have performed original biological research. You have expanded the frontiers of human knowledge. But class of 2021, unlike any other graduating SF State class, you have done this online for the last 2.5 semesters. You have completed your degree through catastrophe after disaster. From wildfires to the ongoing violence of white supremacy laid bare by a devastating global pandemic. While preparing for exams, completing projects, and performing research, you navigated your way through systems that were only designed to benefit a small and exclusive group of people that may not have included you. You have done this while navigating the risks of social contact and social isolation. Many of you have done this while working, while supporting your own families and communities, and while grieving the loss of loved ones. You did not set out to earn your degree in these circumstances, and yet you did it. The visionary author Octavia Butler wrote that prodigy is, at its essence, adaptability and persistent positive obsession. Class of 2021, she was writing about you. So I have a question for you. Here's my question. How did you do it? How did you do so much in the face of so many challenges, disruptions, and barriers? What drove your adaptability, persistence, and positive obsession? I'll share with you one of my sources of strength, and then I'll invite you to reflect on your own. Woo, you all, you inspire me. Okay, one of the sources that I am blessed with that I'll tell you about this today is the incredible strength of my women ancestors. Whew. Okay, I'm talking about the kind of human strength that is both deep and awe-inspiring, and at the same time, very common. So this here is my medallion of Saint Anne. In the Catholic culture that I was raised in, Saint Anne is the saint of moms. My mom's mom wore this, my mom wore it, and I wear it. This medallion is a reminder to me of the deep intergenerational reservoirs of strength that I too can access, even years after the deaths of my maternal ancestors. I am a geneticist, I am who I am. So I pair that with a mitochondria, another symbol of my matrilineal line. Now, I invite you graduates to take a moment to think about what has helped you to complete your degree during an impossible seeming time. You can think about what's internal to you or what's external to your circumstances. And this continues to be SF State Biology. So you know that I am serious about taking a moment to think. If you are moved to, you can share your thoughts in the chat. So I see people thanking their families. I see families supporting each other. Y'all are incredible. By taking the time to name your source, you can remember it. You could write it in your journal. You could embroider it on a pillow and you can tattoo it on your arm. Your source will be there for you for the challenges yet to come. Graduating class of 2021, you are people who are powerfully adaptable, persistent, and positively obsessed. And now today, you are also people with degrees in biology. You are a force to be reckoned with. Going forward, your influence on this world will only amplify, and you will decide how to direct your impact. You chose biology, the study of life, and while dominant forces from racism to ongoing settler colonialism to ecological disregard may seek to control and diminish life, you are empowered to reverse that. Like Dolly Parton said, we can't direct the wind, but we can adjust the sails. As you take your degree and make your next moves, whatever they may be, you, together with your class, your community, your supporters, will determine our collective course. As you do, remember your people, remember your values, and remember your power. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Thank you, Rory. And so that was amazing. And I didn't think I was going to start crying before I had to give my own speech. But before I introduce the first of our two student speakers, let me just say that each of you has a story to share about your journey to the ceremony today. And we were fortunate to have many wonderfully articulate students nominated to speak today. And unfortunately could only accommodate 2 of them in the program. But we're so grateful to everybody who nominated themselves and others to be a part of this program. Your stories matter, and we want you to tell your stories to everybody all the time. So our first student speaker today is Deja Hernandez, who's an undergraduate graduating with her BS degree in zoology. She transferred from a community college like many of you, and she even worked in the department office during her time at San Francisco State. So some of you may have met her there, and I will now turn it over to Deja to tell you her story. Thank you.
Whew. Laura, you got me tearing up. Oh my goodness, I didn't know it was going to happen so quickly. Well, thank you, Laura. Thank you, everybody. Yes, my time here has been short. I transferred here in 2018, but everybody has been so welcoming and so, I don't know, such a big breath of fresh air for me and such a big, just overall such a big family. Okay, let's do this. So thank you everyone for having me here. Thank you for being on one more Zoom meeting for the semester, hopefully. Thank you to the biology department for choosing me to give a speech on behalf of us many other grads who are doing it. It's been a privilege and it's an honor to give a speech. I just want to start off by telling you a little bit about myself. I am only the third person in my entire family to go to college and graduate. I'm the first child of my parents to finish high school, go to a community college, go LMC, then transfer here to San Francisco State, and now finally graduating. I am from Oakley, California. Most people don't know where Oakley is on the map. Most people think I mean Oakland when they hear me say this, but no, I live in Oakley. For people that take BART and for you, us Bay Area people that know the BART map, it is the yellow Antioch line all the way down, and then about an additional 15-minute drive from there. Yes, I commuted all the way from Antioch to BART to Daly City for school, 2 hours there, 2 hours back, 4 hours on BART, and I did a lot of studying in the dark with some special Wi-Fi definitely on my iPad. I am from a Latin middle class. Everybody in my town knows my family. They know my grandmother, they know my mom, they know my dad. My dad is the youngest of five. My mom is the only girl between two boys. And to say the least, I grew up with a village that knows my family. And when everybody hears that Dee's daughter graduated, it's going to be the talk of the town. I am the only daughter in my family between two brothers. And according to my mom, I was a shy child growing up. I still somewhat am until I hear a conversation about animals, whether it's about reptiles, birds, cats, dogs, no legs, many legs, the hairier the better. When I hear someone mention cats, I come running and I will bombard your conversation. Like many people, like many people my age, I watched the late great crocodile hunter Steve Irwin every day. I watched Rocket Power, Out of the Box, Zaboomafoo, and the Wild Thornberrys every day. I would actually wake up early just before school to watch this show on Animal Planet called Growing Up. It was about these people that took care of sick or abandoned animals. I remember my mom would say, wouldn't that be the coolest job ever, just to take care of sick animals? Now I can exactly do that. If it wasn't enough to want to be something different, it was challenging growing up, not seeing many people in my community of color, to be interested in science and to see somebody that looks like me, brown hair, brown eyes, brown skin, with a Latin origin to be in science. There are now finally more people, more minorities in science that we can all see and be a part of. There is a minority in the White House. She is an African American and Asian female. And when she gave her speech, the great Kamala Harris, I cried. I did. I ran to my room, I put on my pearls, and I put on my white beat up chucks. It was then at San Francisco State that I have met the most diverse group of people and scientists ever in my life. We are all different, and as scientists, we know things are healthier and livelier when we have different. We have made our own different paths in life. Yes, we are all similar, but our paths have been our own. We are scientists in the making that graduated during a pandemic, and if that isn't different enough, then I don't know what is. Yes, we are graduating during a pandemic. Never in my life would I have thought I would be doing this Zoom thing, or Zoom University, as many of us call it. But now that we are at the end of the tunnel, I am thankful to be happy and healthy, thankful to be thinking of a new perspective, thinking about what is deemed essential. What is it to be essential has a different meaning. And what also has a different meaning is happiness. Happiness came in short supply last year. And though we have lost many things, many celebrations, family members, and what have you, we have all achieved greatness in our own way. And that is something to be happy for. Thank you for everything that I have learned from all of you. Shout out to Only Wetlands. You have all made a lasting effect on me. Thank you to my family, my brothers, my parents, my grandmother, my cousin, and all of you who have made a lasting impact on me. And lastly, for us crazy cat ladies, we have made it. And congratulations, the class of 2021. We survived the pandemic, the toilet paper shortage, and ourselves. In the words of Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, we did it.
Thank you, Deja. That was wonderful. And I loved hearing about your community that supported you. So, woo-hoo. Our next student speaker is Angela Lane, who will be graduating with her master's in cell and molecular biology. Angela is from Oakland instead of Oakley, and she was an undergraduate at UC Berkeley. I happen to know Angela quite well as she worked in my lab, and I also had the privilege of working with her on lifting Black voices in STEM. So I present to you Angela Lane.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to say hello to the San Francisco State administrators, faculty, staff, students, and my fellow graduates. And I'd also like to say hello to the family members and the friends who have joined us today. Thank you for letting me speak to you. The theme of my speech this morning is jumping through hurdles while keeping your eyes on the prize. The prize is education. The phrase, keep your eyes on the prize, actually was the anthem during the Civil Rights Movement. This phrase is also something my mother taught me. She said, Anne, getting an education will be the hardest thing you ever do in your life. And you'll need to keep your eyes on the prize. She was right. There have been many times in my academic life where I thought I was not going to make it. And as most scientists know, science is a greedy beast. It will gobble up most of your waking hours and then look at you with no remorse. Therefore, taking science classes while working, while caregiving, placed a lot of hurdles in my life. I'm sure many students can identify with this. I once remember trying to explain this to a chemistry professor, who is also my friend, that the road to my educational aspirations has been long, bumpy, and tiring. While explaining this journey, I started to get choked up. And he touched my hand and he said, Angela, sometimes life gets in the way. He was right. And my mother was right. Life's ups and downs and hurdles put detours in my path. Actually, one of the hurdles was my foundation. My parents moved from the segregated South to California many years ago. My dad was 17 years old. My mom was 15 years old when they married. My mother never finished middle school, and my dad was never allowed to learn how to read. My paternal grandfather was a very cruel man who thought Black boys had no need for books. So life was difficult, and our future was bleak. Fortunately, both of my parents shared the strong belief that education actually is the key to a better financial life. And this is true. But education for me was more than just an avenue to achieve a better financial life. Academia opened up a whole new world to me. I could pick up a book and enter a new world. Growing up in a low-income, dilapidated, high-crime neighborhood forged a bond between me and my books. They became my friends. I love books, especially science books. My father said he wanted me to become a doctor or a lawyer. Neither one of those appealed to me. But one night, many years ago, I discovered what I wanted to do with my life. It was family night, and we were all going to watch this new television show, The Incredible Hulk. The theme music blasted through on the speakers of our old RCA television, and I was spellbound by that first episode. Dr. David Banner, the main character, was a scientist. I had uncovered what I wanted to do when I grew up. I absolutely loved what Dr. David Banner did for a living. He performed experiments so that he could discover the unknown. I wanted to do the same. Years later, I went to a community college, and then I transferred to UC Berkeley. Eventually, unfortunately, my academic life at Cal was very difficult. I was an inner city girl with an inner city education, and my peers were not. They came from upper and middle income homes. They were very academically prepared for Cal, and I was not. But I had one thing going for me. I learned how to jump hurdles and keep my eyes on the prize. Eventually, I received my BA degree in molecular cell biology from UC Berkeley. And then I did various biotech jobs. Actually, for the past 4 years, I've taught genomics theory at Merritt College. As a Merritt College instructor, I helped create a microscopy group for inner city youth. A few years ago, I gave the class a speech. I gave a class speech to a group of Oakland inner city students. Most of these students wanted to go to college and major in science. As I looked at them, stillness enveloped the room. Eager eyes fell upon me. I said, I grew up in Oakland, like most of you. My parents' house is not far from here. I went to a community college, and then I transferred to UC Berkeley. And at Cal, I struggled and I failed. And then I struggled and failed again. But you know what? I had the boiling desire to be a scientist. And struggling made it hard. But I knew what I wanted. So eventually, after years of grueling work, I received my degree from UC Berkeley in biology. So don't let anyone or anything stop you, because if science is your calling, you can't let anyone take that from you. It's your birthright. Years rang out, and then a standing ovation followed. I felt very humbled. As an African-American, middle-aged, first-generation, female scientist from a disadvantaged socioeconomic background, my perspectives are unique. Sadly, I hadn't found anyone in science that was remotely like me. But then I emailed an SF State program, and my academic life changed. I soon had the honor of speaking with Dr. Frank Bayless. Dr. Bayless is the founder of the Student Enrichment Opportunities Program at San Francisco State. He encouraged me to apply to their master's program, and I did, and I got in, and I was beyond overjoyed. For the past almost 3 years, I've worked in Dr. Laura Burris's lab, and I have had the time of my life. SF State. At SF State, I have found mentorship, support, friendship, lasting, loving fellowship. It is a truly unique place, and we all know that that is true. Yes, there have been struggles in my life. Yes, there have been many hurdles. But finally, I found a big old pot of gold once I got to San Francisco State. So I'd like to offer anyone in the audience that's ever faced some daunting hurdle the very valuable piece of advice that my mother gave to me. Yes, clouds are coming and hurdles, they're coming too. But keep your eyes on the prize. For the educational enrichment, it's coming too. Thank you for listening. And congratulations to the San Francisco State graduating class. Go Gators.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you to all the speakers. Boy, that's a really tough act to follow. You guys are amazing. And I heard some truth there. And so a lot of truth. Thank you for speaking on behalf of all of our students in the class of 2021. I can't breathe. These were the last words of George Floyd, who died as a result of police brutality. I can't breathe. These are the last words of Eric Garner, who also died as a result of police violence. I can't breathe. These words describe the depth of despair felt by mothers and fathers detained at the border and separated from their children by the United States government. I can't breathe. These words, along with images of the wildfires in California and Australia, serve as a haunting reminder of the impacts of climate change resulting from human-induced changes in the environment. I can't breathe. These are the words of children from communities of color who are disproportionately affected by airborne pollution caused by human activities. I can't breathe. I love you. These are the last words of Caius Kelly, a frontline nurse who died from COVID-19. During the course of your studies here at San Francisco State University, our communities have been asphyxiated by racism, climate change, pollution, and COVID-19. And yet, in the words of Amanda Gorman, the Poet Laureate of the United States, let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried. Every year I collect stories from faculty about graduates who have inspired them. Your stories tell me that collectively and individually, you grieved and you grew. You hurt and you hoped. You tired and you tried. This year, some common themes emerged around anti-racism, caregiving, community outreach, inspiration, and ingenuity. Even as you hurt, you hoped. One of you dealt with microaggressions in a constructive way. And instead of calling the person out, you called them in. This brave act led to positive changes in the environment. Others of you have lifted your voices so that faculty and administrators across campus can better understand and respond to the needs of Black students. You breathed life into an institution's will to do better. Even as you tired, you tried. Despite being the caregiver for a parent with kidney failure, one of you worked hard to keep up with your schoolwork so that you could graduate here today. You are the breath that sustains your family. Even as you grieved, you grew. One of you helped organize a webinar on COVID-19 vaccines, while others of you volunteered at COVID vaccination sites. You are the breath that translates science to your community. Even as you suffered, you supported. Our faculty tell me that one of you was an especially enthusiastic and supportive and gracious classmate, helping everybody in the class. You were an inspiration to everyone. You are the breath that sustains us. Even as you panicked, you persisted. One of you suffered from anxiety and panic attacks. As you could not afford a service dog, you trained your own. You are the breath that spawns ingenuity. So that we can better appreciate the struggles that many of you have faced, I'd like to ask that graduates respond to a short poll. I know you thought you were done at this point with Zoom polls, but here we are. But before I do that, I'd like you to close your eyes for just a minute and imagine. It's a beautiful day here in San Francisco, so imagine that you're sitting in your cap and gown. You're at your graduation ceremony in Cox Field, so down where the track is. There's a stage in front of you with your faculty and staff up there. Your families and loved ones are seated behind you. So imagine yourself there for just a minute. If we were in person, I would ask you to respond to these questions by standing up. Instead, since we're virtual, I'll ask you to respond to a poll, but feel free to stand up if you want to, because I just want to see people. And so I'm going to start a poll now. And let's see if I can do this. Okay. So which, if any, of the following were true for you during your time at San Francisco State? And I'd ask you to click on any that apply. And hopefully you can see this poll. Yeah, okay, I'm getting some answers. Please weigh in. I want everybody, all of us, to see different kinds of struggles that you have faced. Keep it coming. All right, answers are still coming in. Got over 100 now, but we have at least 400 people in the audience, so keep them coming for a little bit. I want to hear from everybody. Okay. Thank you. So I want to share the results with you just so you can see what your classmates have been going through. Rory, can you give me a thumbs up so you can see this? Perfect. Okay. So what you can see is that many of you were treated as less than equal because of some personal characteristic. Many of you got COVID or cared for someone with COVID. Some of you had family members die. 30% of you struggled with housing and food. And the largest percentage struggled with mental illness and depression. And I will tell you that I was right there with you. We were all struggling. And some of you worried that someone in your family would be deported. So this was a lot, to say the least, about this year. Thank you. If we were in person, I imagine that nearly all of you would be standing by now because we have all struggled in the last few years. It's been a tremendously difficult time. So now close your eyes again and take it all in. And now here you are on Cox Field. It's actually sunny at San Francisco State today. Feel the sun on your shoulders, the wind blowing through your hair, and breathe in the air. Remember the obstacles that you have overcome. Borrowing from the words of Amanda Gorman again, these are the hills you have climbed. Today, I'm here to tell you how proud we are of your resilience and persistence in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Again, so that we can appreciate some of your triumphs, I'd like to ask the graduates to respond to one more poll. So I'm going to set it up now. We're going to go to the second one. All right. So in this poll, again, which, if any, of the following are true for you? You've been accepted to professional or graduate school, so medical school, dental school, veterinary school, PhD programs, master's programs, pursuing a career in education, plan to give back to my community, first generation, and my family and loved ones are so proud they're about to burst. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, thank you. All right, again, I'm going to end the poll and share it. So again, I think that by now everybody would be standing up that either you're going on to graduate school, pursuing a career in education, giving back to your community, you're the first in your families to graduate from college. And I know that your families and loved ones are so proud of you today. So thank you for that. This is huge. I Can't Breathe is a desperate plea for life. As biologists, we are all about life. Our ability to breathe will require all of us to continue discovering new ideas, innovating new strategies, and fighting for social justice, health justice, environmental justice, and climate justice. These are the hills we must all climb together. Graduates, your persistent urge to breathe has provided you with the ability to transform this wounded world into a wondrous one. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left with. Every breath from my bronze pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. Yes, there is a lot of work to be done. No, you will not be alone. All of us here will be working with you shoulder to shoulder. And when I mean all of us, that's the faculty and staff here, your families and loved ones. This is all of our jobs. To address the ongoing public health crises which stem from systemic racism and climate change, we must connect and commit to each other and to the environment, say softly. Then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. As newly anointed graduates of the Department of Biology, your job going forward is to care for the health and well-being of your families, your communities, and for all living organisms on this planet. Your calling, and ours too, is to be the breath that sustains this wondrous world that we live in. When day comes, and it is day out there, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. It is my hope that on this graduation day, you step out of shade of flame and unafraid. Graduates of 2021, you are on fire. Today and always, you simultaneously compel me to breathe and you take my breath away. Congratulations, class of 2021. I'm so proud of you. So now we are going to have our walk across the stage, and so we'll get to see all the graduates and honor you as you pass across the stage. So congratulations. Give Colin a minute while he gets it going here. Woo!
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have the honor to congratulate the first graduates who got their degree in general biology. Erica Mercedes Galdames, congratulations. Love the hat. Evelyn Irene Garcia, congratulations, Evelyn. Aaliyah Danielle Glenn, congratulations. Love the pictures with your community, your family. Denise Gomez, congratulations. Great picture. Yvonne Sinzige, congratulations. You did it. Nathan Luis Obag Lagrisola, congratulations. Awesome work. I love it that some of you went to campus for pictures. Jasmine Maciel, congratulations. Amanda Josephine Medina, congratulations, Amanda. Medicine Motoyoshi, congratulations. Stephanie Nava, congratulations, Stephanie. Melissa Padilla, or Padilla, probably. Sorry about that. Congratulations, Melissa. And to your family too. Denise Papillas. Congratulations, Denise. Great work. Isabel Magallon Perez. Congratulations. To your parents too, your family. Joshua Samaniego. Congratulations, Joshua. Jennifer Tran. Congratulations. Great picture. Athena Watkins. Congratulations. With the Golden Gate Bridge on your picture. I love it. Vaisa Todo. Congratulations, Vaisa. I love the goggles. Gaston Campos. Congratulations, Gaston. And congratulations to all of those. I won't have time to read all the names, but you did a great job. You should be very proud of yourselves. And please keep in touch. Let us know what you're going to do next.
Hello, graduates. I am honored to present the BS in Botany and also the BS in Cellular Molecular Biology. So starting with BS in Botany is Irma Calixto Gomez. Right. Congratulations, our BSs in Botany. Next are our BSs in Cell and Molecular Biology. First up is Gerson Asienzo. Go Gerson. Congratulations. Gracie Meridian Bruno. Colin Ian Busby. Sal V. Cortez Alvarado. Marlon Cresswell. Aura de Jesus. Patricia Ding Lawson. Matthew Dominguez. Maria Virginia Flores. Sal Gamboa Pinedo. Kayla Marie Jimenez. Elizabeth Hamada. Melissa Hasmer. Shema Yasser Hushea.
Now I'd like to congratulate our students in the screen. Kiana Mohit, congratulations. Wei Takudas Okalis, congratulations. Johannas Mecenas Perez Galatos, congratulations. Elisas Marias Robles, congratulations. Vanessa's Patricia Rodriguez and others, congratulations. Elisas Bakis, congratulations. Amiranis Venegas, congratulations. Claire Ennis Weeks Youngs, congratulations. Sabrina Erin Tamara, congratulations. Elisas Rajan, congratulations. Jamis Katarins, congratulations. Natalinas Reis, congratulations. Catherine Rodriguez, congratulations. Emily Jasmine Chapelius, congratulations. Jerry Tran, congratulations. Nolinas Benitez Rivola, congratulations. These are some additional names and the slides. I go to the next person. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all. It's BS in ecology. Yours, Rasis, congratulations. Anas, Lagunas, congratulations. Additional names shown on this slide. Congratulations to all. We have some more for marine biology. Daniels Marias Castañedas, congratulations. Niles Deutsch, congratulations. Rihanna Gomez, congratulations. Taylor James, congratulations. Paul Lopez, congratulations. Javier Miradas, congratulations. Clive Perez Charlotte, congratulations. Yesenias Suarez, congratulations. The additional students graduate, congratulations to all.
And it's now my honor to introduce the graduates in microbiology. Harris Amiri, congratulations. Daniela Arce Cabanillas, congratulations. Adrian Joseph Bernal, congratulations. Angelo Joseph Bernal, congratulations. I'll miss seeing both of you in my office hours. Alicia Isabel Carrillo, congratulations. Marina Chavez, congratulations. And Dam, congratulations. Marwin Fernandez, congratulations. And welcome to the lab in the fall. Yasmin Lababidi, congratulations. Edgar Ivan Martinez, congratulations. Clara Nungare, congratulations. And also welcome to the master's program in the fall. Danielle Peterson, congratulations. Emily Ken Pham. Congratulations. Jordan Quezon. Congratulations. Dharma Raj Sanjal. Congratulations. Trisha Ann Savala. Congratulations. And additional microbiology majors. Congratulations and felicidades to everyone. Great achievement. I will miss seeing you guys in my classes.
It's my honor to announce the graduates of the BS in Geology. Congratulations to everyone. Kristen Aguilar. Congratulations, Kristen. Very proud. John Alarcon. Congratulations, John. To the new beginning. Lizette Paola Araguin. Congratulations, Lizette. Very proud of you. Juliana Ariola. Congratulations, Juliana. Irene E. Bailey. Congratulations, Irene. Judy Rose Barber. Congratulations, Judy. Jessica Elaine Bermudez. Congratulations, Jessica. Jake Frankini. Congratulations, Jake. Marsha Bridget. Congratulations, Marsha. Very happy for you. Chelsea Burgess. Congratulations, Chelsea. Berenice Chavez Rojas. Congratulations, Berenice. Emma Holland. Congratulations, Emma. Ashley Noel Cortero. Congratulations, Ashley. I'm very happy for you. Nicole Cunha. Congratulations, Nicole. Elisa Juliana Del Rosario. Congratulations, Elisa.
Thank you, Dr. Kirakosian. Giselle Ann Dela Cruz. Congratulations. Helen Doe. Congratulations. Donna Joyce Domingo. Congratulations. Catherine Elera. Congratulations. Zoe L. Ellaway. Nice work. Cassandra Fong. Congratulations. Nelly Aguilar Francisco. Congratulations. Griffith. Congratulations. Rasul Hassan. Congratulations. Adrian E. Rivera Garcia. Congratulations. In Ho. Very nice work. Bella Forky. Congratulations. Joe Nathan Ibarra. Congratulations to Joe. Anne Halandoni. Congratulations, Anne.
April Antoinette Ramos Hosway. Congratulations. Michaela Kelly. Congratulations. Yvette Dorothy Ann Laksamana. Congratulations. Paulina Leosi. Congratulations. Malaysia Idela Martha. Congratulations. Casey Mitchell. Congratulations. Elizabeth Molina. Congratulations. Andrea Munoz Vera. Congratulations. Ala Osman. Congratulations. Gustavo Padilla. Congratulations. Shaina Jean Valeria Padua. Congratulations. Stephanie Hodson. Congratulations. Desiree Louise Powell. Congratulations. Carolina Quintero. Congratulations. Sid Ragsdale Cronin. Congratulations. Stephanie Ramirez Gomez. Congratulations. Daniela Maria Reyes Ramos. Congratulations.
Michael Ortiz Rodriguez. Congratulations. Elizabeth Rodriguez. Congratulations. Evelyn Rodriguez. Congratulations. Eleni Rodun. Congratulations. Ariana Samimi. Congratulations. Armin Saberhide. Congratulations. Sawa Pobi Sanchez. Congratulations. Kristen Camille Solis. Congratulations. Jessica Ty. Congratulations. May Mon Thet. Congratulations. Jessica Hiu. Congratulations. Nina Tran. Congratulations. Gabriela Noemi Villalpando. Congratulations. Sabrina Wakefield. Congratulations. Jenna Yauda. Congratulations. Mercedes Yazdani. Congratulations. Nina Zandapur. Congratulations. Kathleen Menenquil. Congratulations. Delia Moreno Losa. Congratulations. Luke Edward Wesley. Congratulations. Koinur Joshi. Congratulations. Balsharin Kaur Dulon. Congratulations. Mariana Gallegos. Congratulations. Astrid Vasquez Hernandez. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of you all new graduates. Continued success to you all. One more congratulations to all graduates. Congratulations.
And congrats to our newest zoologist. Gilbert Alarcon Cruz. Congratulations. Esther Clements Batars. Congratulations. Christian Paulo Bermudez. Congratulations. Angelica Diaz. Congratulations. Letitia Francis. Congratulations. Aisha Galdames. Congratulations. Deja Hernandez. Congratulations. Emerald Wang Kajimoto. Congratulations. Eileen Verlani Lopez. Congratulations. Maria J. Ortega. Congratulations. Carla Vanessa Pena Urana. Congratulations. Mariana Fuchel Perez Guerra. Congratulations. Morgane R. Spain Howard. Congratulations. Rice Watkin. Congratulations. Camille Marie Wong. Congratulations. Jaylee Yacht. Congratulations. Sophia Marie Romette. Congratulations. Alyssa Lexis Varelli. Congratulations. And congratulations to all of the zoology majors. Well done. And congrats to all of our BS undergraduates who have just graduated. You guys are newly minted scientists. You've done it. Well done.
It's my honor to be starting with the master's degrees, starting with cell and molecular biology. Gabriela Alvarez Azanedo. Special congratulations to you. Thanks for being in my lab. Jessica Dagdagan Briones. Congratulations. Jared De La Cruz. Congratulations. Kristen Kinney. Congratulations. Elaine Kwan. Congratulations. Dominique Lagasca. Congratulations. Angela Lane, congratulations. Katie Padilla, congratulations. Caitlin Peasley, congratulations. Stephanie Sang, congratulations. Gavin Shavy, congratulations. Cindy Tam, congratulations. Jing Yin Jessica Wang, congratulations. Ariana Yancey, congratulations. Muzette Caldera, congratulations. Casey Mitchell, congratulations. Maduabu Chukwu Nzeram, congratulations. Sergio Ramirez, congratulations. Mike Kwan Win, congratulations. Congratulations to all of our CMB master's degree awardees. Big congrats to everyone.
It's my honor to present the Masters in Ecology and Conservation Biology. We're so proud of you. Morgan Bell, congratulations. Madison Bullock, congratulations. Karina Lee Hisson, congratulations. Maria Jose Pastor, congratulations. Aoife Galvin, congratulations. And congratulations to all the other master's graduates in ecology and conservation biology. We're so proud of all of you. I'm excited to present the Masters in Marine Biology, Microbiology, and Physiology and Behavior. You all worked so hard. We're so proud of you. Congratulations, Candace Hillel Anastasia Clark. Rebecca Salcedo, congratulations. Allison Elizabeth Tamman, congratulations. Diana Cazares, congratulations. Imani Robinson, congratulations. Joni A. Zavaleta, congratulations. And congrats to the rest of the marine biology majors with a master's degree. Congratulations. I'll be now presenting the master's graduates in biomedical sciences. Joanna Donatelli, congratulations. Monica Haas, congratulations. William Pratcher II, congratulations. Amelia Skeet, congratulations. David Salazar, congratulations. And congratulations to our other masters with biomedical sciences. We're so proud of you and all of your hard work that you've put in. And congratulations to all of our master's graduates, class of 2021. We are so excited to see what is in the future for all of you. We're so proud of all of you.
All right. So wonderful to see all your faces on screen and the slides that you put together and all the photos around San Francisco. I love it. And I wish we were in person, but we're not quite there yet. And so normally after a ceremony and after everybody's walked across the stage and hopefully nobody trips getting up and down the stairs, we hang out on the field and hug and talk and laugh and that sort of thing. And so let's see. Before I go on to do one more thing, I want to ask that class of 2021, you've now walked across the virtual stage, such as it is, and as a sign that you have successfully graduated from San Francisco State University. I now invite you to move your tassel. You may or may not have a cap on today, but even a virtual cap tassel, from the right side of your cap, your mortarboard to the left. This is a sign that you are now a graduate of San Francisco State University. Whoop it up, throw your hat in the air, do whatever you need to do. Congratulations, graduates. We love you and we believe in you. So here we are on the field. I know that a lot of you have been sharing some love in the chat. I want to give you one more way to share a little love. I set up a Padlet for us to do some appreciations that we'll be able to save and share with you, so that if you want to write some gratitudes and appreciations for faculty and staff, for other students, for your families and loved ones, please go to that link and write some stuff. And while you're writing it, we can have a little slideshow again with more sites from campus, which we all missed. I've only been there 3 times in a year and a half. There'll be some photos of San Francisco again and a little music. Before we sign off though, I just want to say we'll be reaching out to you soon by email to get your snail mail addresses, because we have a little gift for you that we want to send you. So when you get an email from us asking for your address, make sure you respond so we can send you your gift. And lastly, we're proud of you. We love you. We believe in you. And we ask that you stay in touch with us going forward. This is not a goodbye. Instead, we look forward to rolling up our shirt sleeves and working side by side with you as colleagues to make this wondrous world a better place. Congratulations. I'll see you in Padlet and giving out some gratitudes and appreciations. And well done. Well done. All right. So we'll start up our slideshow and people can do some stuff in Padlet here.